shoot. Hello, hello, hello. Happy Wednesday. I never know what damn day it is. My whole life is based on a calendar and I never know what day it is. Clearing out the energy. Been sitting, talking to the Most High. It's been a little bit bumpy out here, huh, guys? I feel it. I feel it. I have on the 852 hertz, so today there's a lot of energy going on in this area, right? So the third eye, you call it whatever you want, but it's here. So you might be experiencing, you know, some gunk up in there, some sinusy stuff up in there, all kind of stuff. Or, you know, it's in a direct relationship with your sacral chakra. So you could also be feeling, you know, down in your guts and stuff like that too. If you're feeling kind of off, you know, in your head up here, it might be a good sign for you to clear your guts out, really. That really helps if you are having a kind of like stagnation in the energy in this space. If you clean out your guts, then that helps to open this up and let that flow a little bit better. Just a little tip, however you want to get it how you live, fam. Get it how you live. I'm just dropping gems, right? So there are 3 things right now that are getting me through these turbulent times, right? And the first thing is faith. And I know that sounds so cliche, but guys, I'm telling you that just like a little droplet of faith and what you feel in your heart goes the long way. Yes. Oh my God. Yes, Thelma. Dude, my seasonal allergies have been going crazy. Yeah. Wild oregano has really been helping my baby with those seasonal allergies a lot. I've noticed a lot for that. And, you know, like I said, this time will really flare up, you know, so like each week we roll kind of through different energies in our body. Hello, beautiful. And so each day they will affect certain areas or the relationship, the polarity of that area. And so I just try to kind of drop some nugs to get you guys to explain this in kind of like a simpler way, right? So, you know, turbulent times is life can feel testing, right? So drop a heart up in here if you feel that, like that life can feel testing to you sometimes, you know, like just going through sinus and allergies. I know that can be testing, you know. My little girl gets so frustrated with her sinuses and allergies, and it's testing, just like, you know, all the things are testing. All these things that people are talking about, all these things that people are seeing and saying and repeating and mimicking and holding on to, right? Yes, I love you. I love you, Thelma. I love you, everybody, you know, that's going through tests in life. I know that these tests can feel sometimes really defeating. Cheers. But I'm telling you, if you're going through a test in life and you're feeling kind of defeated, just take a little rest, man. Just take a little chill, take a little bath, get something good to eat, you know, just really rest up and rest yourself, because you don't fail. You know, life goes the long way, right? And so just because you're not like winning at something right now does not mean that you're failing at all. So just take a little rest, fill back up on self-love, and get back out there. Tell me about it, but it's all good at the end. Yeah. I went deep today. You know, guys, I go in and I get really deep. And a lot was coming up, and I question it and I test it over and over and over again. You know, and it's all about the test in my life. It's the turbulence that I experience in my life, and then things that I hear others are going through. And I kind of take that and like put it all together when I'm talking to God. And so if you don't know me, I'm Sarah Richardson. I'm a cheerleader for the divine, right? And so the way I see God is love. And I talk about it different. And I talk about the things that we go through very different. So I'm creating my life. I'm creating my life. I'm creating my flow. I'm creating my experiences. I'm creating all these things in my life by getting to know myself. Truly, like really, truly getting to know myself on the inside, right? And so that's really been my whole thing. My whole experience has been just me getting to know myself and learning to share that with everybody else, right? It's the air, girl. Take care. I love you. You know, so a lot of things about evil have been coming up lately for me. You know, and it's wild, guys, because my daughter just went with her dad, and, you know, this evil talk, this evil conversation piece has been coming up because of what we see on the news, because of what we see going on in the world, because of, you know, the things that are coming to our porches, the things that are going on, right? And so I totally get it, but like at the same time, I am always think up. So, you know, I'm sending my daughter to Atlanta, and this man at the park, I did not even know him. This man and his wife were at the park. They had their 2 boys. They were playing with my daughter. And all of a sudden he brings up child trafficking. And I'm like, fuck. You know, like, I know this is real. Like, you know, but what am I gonna, what is my vibration for this, right? I'm always on that. And so I'm, you know, saying a few things, and he was like, yeah, it's way worse in Atlanta. And I was like, whoa, partner, that is where I'm going to have to stop you, because my daughter is getting ready to go there, and we're done with this conversation, like straight up, right? And so, you know, it's funny because just lately I've been like I've been watching movies, and like some scary movie shit has been coming up. And so it's like, even though I stay like out of the news and I stay out of all this scary, evil stuff, you know, it's still coming up for me to notice it. Like in these scary movies, you know, they're taking women and they're doing all these crazy things, and it's like, shit, you know what I mean? And I'm over here walking around like I'm protected, you know? And all these conversations come up at the same time, all this energy is coming up, right? And so, you know, what is evil? So evil, I looked up the definition today for evil because this is how I go in, right? And evil is someone that gets pleasure from inflicting pain. That's what the definition of the evil was. And so that's kind of like a really thing, right? Evil, when you think of evil, you think of like right? And a lot of people, I know a lot of people come to me about attacks that they experience or they feel like they go through from other people and things like that. And, you know, one of my big things to tell people about this whole evil thing is someone can only do to you what you will let them do to you, right? And so nobody can come in and just get to messing all around with yourself. Like, you're way more powerful than that. However, you do have to take action to do certain things to keep yourself in that good place, I do believe, right? Because, you know, evil, like spell work has been coming up a lot. And so I was just talking to a client of mine today, and I love her. And I was just trying to explain to her that it's not necessarily like some witch sitting in her kitchen, like brewing up a witch's brew, right? A lot of times it's like, that guy down the street or whatever, that chick down the street, and they're talking about you, and they're talking about you with like ill intentions, right? They're talking about you like in mean ways. And so, because I do believe that we're all connected, when somebody is doing that, talking about you in those mean ways, energetically, you take a hit for that, right? And so people, that's why I always say, like, we're all witches, bitches, right? Because our words are casting our lives, and so that's why when that man was talking about the kids getting abducted in Atlanta, I was like, look, no. When my daughter starts to get on a rampage about, like, talking about things in her life, I make sure that we talk about what we talk about. We talk about what we think about, because these are very important things that you need to do, right? And so, what is evil to you? What is evil to you? Because each of us are very different. And so each of us have a very different experience with evil in our lives, right? And so a lot of the people that I've been just talking to lately have been talking about evilness, like in their family or in their friends, or, in their work, like seeing these evil things in all these different places. So we're all very different. However, the effect of the energy is still very similar. It has to be. That's just how energy works, right? And so it's like the good versus evil. So this good versus evil has been going on forever, right? And the good versus evil is like the war, right? And so, what does that mean? So, today I'm sitting here and I'm going deep, and I'm like, okay, so what does that mean? Because I really believe that only love is real. So if only love is real, like, what is this good versus evil? It's the war, but it's the war within, right? And why it's the war within is because you have this all inside of you. And so a lot of people don't like to talk to me when they're feeling like they're experiencing evil things in their lives, because I come at it in a way that you have the power and you have the authority over the evil in your life, right? And so some people will say, well, it's my family, you don't understand. No, you have to handle that. You have the power within you to handle that, right? And a lot of people think of it as so, like if you stop talking to someone in your family, that has to be for the rest of your life. Like when we're making these energetic moves for ourselves, when we're clearing out the old heavy energies, right? I don't think of anything as permanence, right? I just think of like, all right, I just need to do this for right now and I'll figure it out, So how do you figure out the evil in you? What is evil for you? When you look at the world outside of you, what do you see as the evil? Where do you see the evil? What do you think of the evil? And then you have to take that and bring that inside of you, right? I believe that there is like a great divide trying to happen right now. And, this good versus evil is being used in it. Like, who is good versus who is evil? And that's a hard place for me, because I look at everybody like only love is real, right? And I see now, in getting to know and nurture the evil inside of me, that the evil is just trauma. The evil and the getting pleasure out of pain, that's trauma. That's a unconscious, repeated pattern, a pain pattern in people's lives that we're passing down from generation to generation to generation to generation. And so you have the authority over what you're going to let make you feel divided. Who are we really to judge what's good and evil out here? I went through a big thing with that. Like, how could I ever even judge good and evil? That's not my judgment to make, right? If something doesn't feel good to me, then I can just say that doesn't feel good to me. Let's keep it moving, right? If the vibe changed, it can come back. If it doesn't, it won't, right? You have the authority over your life. You have the authority over your voice. You have the authority over the delivery. You have the authority over your vibration. What are you vibrating at, right? Because we're always going to attract what we vibrate. We're always going to attract, like right now, Saturn is in retrograde, right? And so you're seeing people's karma come back to them. You're seeing that what people have given out to people now, they're getting back. And that comes in two ways. You're seeing the nasty that people gave out and what they're getting back, and you're seeing the good that people gave out and what is coming back. And then who are we to really judge that? It's just a feeling that we have about that thing, right? So evil comes from trauma. Evil comes from hurt, deep hurt. Sometimes it's your personal hurt. Sometimes it's hurt that's passed down that you don't even know anything about. It's a hurt so deep. It's a hurt that is so misunderstood. So the trauma that causes the evil is a very misunderstood thing. And it's in all of us. So no one person is alone out here in trying to figure out and navigate this stuff, because the vibration is lifting, right? So things are being exposed in these areas, the trauma, the evil, the darkness, the shadows, right? Those things are getting all stirred up and churned up. But it's really misunderstood because it's really fate. It's fate because as these things get exposed and as we learn how to nurture them, then we learn how to talk about them different. Now we're having nurturing conversations about our trauma. That's dope. Nurturing conversations about the evil feelings. Nurturing conversations about what we've dealt with and the evilness from our families and from the people around us, right? So, it's a light and dark thing. If you want to make it as simple as you can make it, it's just light and dark, and we are all of that. We're all of that. So nurture that in you. Nurture the hurt in you. Nurture the guilt in you. Nurture the shame in you. Nurture the pain in you. Nurture the sickness in you. Nurture anything that you need to nurture in your life. You have the authority to nurture those things. You have the authority. A lot of people aren't used to doing that, so it's a very uncomfortable thing. A lot of people, when I'm teaching them or telling them how to nurture certain things, they feel like that's selfish. You have to nurture yourself. You have to do it. Nobody else can do this for you. Nobody else can go inside of you. Nobody else can know what you really think is evil. We can see it sometimes. You can see the pain. I can see the pain. And that's the part, that's the part that really hurts. And, it's all you, it's all in you, it's all you, it's all for you. So, you got to really open up. You got to really open up to evil and good are in all of us. All of us. Every single one of us. There's no way that any single one of us can go out here and judge any other one of us for any way that we do any of this. So when I talk to you guys, I will never judge a soul for what they go through, hold in them, have in them. I carry some deep stuff. And so, in this journey of getting into the flow and having faith in what I can't see and have never seen or experienced before in my life, I had to really open myself up to be able to receive. So, I talk about praying all the time, and a lot of people are praying, but are you open to receive the messages that are coming back to you about what you're asking about what you're trying to talk about, right? Because a lot of times we'll send out questions and we'll send out prayers and we'll send out all these things, but we're not really open to receive them, and we don't really understand what that means, right? And so That's the masculine and feminine inside of you, right? A lot of times we can be too much in our masculine doing energy to be able to fall back in our feminine receiving energy, attracting energy, right? Like we're out here trying to get it, not realizing that what we desire is trying to get us, but we're blocking that out, paying attention to some other shit. We got to think up out of what we see. So like, I know in these turbulent times that we're seeing all this chaos and we're seeing all these things going on. And that's why I always say, like, get in your own vibration, like cut out the outside noise, get in with yourself, because the more peaceful your internal frequency is, the easier it is to tune into your heart, to tune into your visions, to create that life that's in your heart, right? Because the more outside bugging that is going on, the harder it is to like visualize what you actually want with your heart in this world. We really got to learn to nurture the hurt inside of us. We got to learn to nurture the evil inside of us. You know, if you see evil in your family, that is in you. If you see evil in your friends, that is in you. Now, it might be in you to cut it off. It might be in you to pull it in closer and learn a little bit about it. But if you're seeing evil things, or if evil things are going on around you, it's inside of you. So when you learn to nurture your hurt, then whenever you see other people around you that are hurt, you are a better nurturer, because you nurtured the hurt in you. You know what that feels like. You don't take it so personal. Instead of calling somebody evil, you know, I'm like, oh shit, like they're fucking hurting deeply. You know, nurturing the evil in you, the hurt in you, the trauma in you, heals your family. So I know a lot of people out here have a lot of really deep family stuff, and I send tons of love. But as you stay in your lane and as you stay in your vibration, and maybe, you know, do like cut out some people temporarily in your life, you are healing your family. But don't look for that. You know, don't look to see like, oh, hey, are they healing from this? Hey, are they healing from this? Because that can feel defeating. And so let it come to your porch. You know, when you're on this healing journey, and when you're learning to nurture the evil in you, the darkness in you, the not so great parts that you feel like about you, all of a sudden things will start coming to your porch. You know, like me and my sister's relationships have really gotten a lot closer. Me and my mom, me and my grandma, you know, and a lot of it wasn't always that way. Like, it really fell out there for a little while, and shit got a little bit rocky, and we were like, I'm not sure, right? But I just kept being dedicated to myself and being dedicated to healing this trauma and this pain and this hurt that was inside of me, right? And it's funny because, you know, a lot of times when I talk to people, they'll say, you know, I don't even really know how to describe this, what I've been going through. And I'm like, I totally get it, because these old patternings of evil, these old patternings of trauma and hurt and how they're playing out, they're very hard to describe, because you're acting, and it's so, you know, you're not really aware, but like you're aware of what's happening, but you're not really sure how to like rein in on like the power within you to be able to handle these situations, right? Because you're just falling into an old vibration and an old flow, where this is about your unique vibration and your unique flow with this thing. That's why I say, so today is about the third eye. Turn on the 852 hertz, turn on the 417 hertz, learn to work with those two places in you. You know, the third eye is in a direct relationship with the womb space, the sacral chakra. And so, you know, flow is all about the flow inside of you. You know, the reason why the third eye brings up so much about the womb and about the family is because it's in a direct relationship with the sacral chakra. And that's just what the fuck that's hitting for, right? You are not alone. You are not alone. You are not alone because everybody is going through this. And then you are not alone because you're heavily protected out here, right? So ask, help me know that all my deepest needs will be met. Help me know that, right? Because when you know that all your deepest needs will be met, that's a safety and security in the root that is undescribable. When you're out here and you know that your deepest needs will be met and you don't know even how, that is a good, solid foundation. That is a good, solid root. Now, does it mean that if you're scared that you don't have a good root? No. It just means that you need to sit with those things that make you afraid and nurture those things that make you afraid until you can transmute that energy to a more safe and sturdy feeling. And that takes time. It's not something that you get with a session. It's just not. You know, after I ask for help all the time, I just give an immediate thank you. All the time. When I ask for help, I give a thank you. Because in that giving thank you, in my mind, I feel like I'm trying to let myself be open to receive what I'm asking for. So in this thing, it would be, you know, allow me to know that all my deepest needs will be met and let me to receive that, right? So like a lot of us are praying for these things, but then when our deepest needs are trying to be met, then we're pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. See, the fight, that's the fight. We all have good and evil. Yes. We're all learning to nurture the good and evil within us. Every single one of us right now, across the fucking board, from here to Australia to Africa to wherever everybody is at, we are all doing this. It is going on. Things are being revealed from the unseen. Things are being revealed from the unknown. Families are getting shook the fuck up. It's like being in that airplane and the shit is just bouncing around and you're just not sure about it. I know. Breathe and go into yourself. I'm telling you. Breathe and go into yourself. We're breaking down the old ways of evil, pain, hurt, trauma, right? We're nurturing those things within us so we can have nurturing conversations with others, so we can heal the evil, the pain, the trauma, release things, and make space for the things that we've never seen before, for the miracles, for the unexpected, for the love to come in, right? We gotta do this. We gotta do this. Like, there's no other way, but you gotta do it. Or you just get kind of dragged and like ripped through life. And I love you. If you get dragged and ripped through life, I fucking love you. I got dragged and ripped. Really. But I really do believe that dreams come true. And like, I mean like the dreams in your heart. You know, through everything that I've been through out here in my life, I don't know what this is that lets me know that like, stay committed to this, because like this is what's real in here, even though sometimes it's like real different than what most people are out here doing or thinking or saying or being or having, right? I've been trying to stay true to this and build me a solid foundation about the things that my heart's desiring, right? And that takes a lot of work. And so, you know, as you start to learn to nurture yourself, then that's what you start to do. You start to stay dedicated to your heart, because once you learn how to nurture your heart and your pain, right, then you keep nurturing yourself. You keep building that foundation. Truth, love, and persistence. My motto, I love it. So yeah, guys, we're breaking down the old ways to rebuild the new, the rebirth, you know, the rebirth of what we want to do with this pain. You know, inner child work came up today for this, and it's been coming up a lot in a lot of the conversations that I've been working with a lot of people, and they've been asking about it or bringing it up. And so many want to know about inner child work, but they're kind of afraid to ask because they think it seems silly. That's the thing that they've been saying. And I want to let you know that it has been incredible to me. And so, third eye is all about, your intuition and being guided and things like that. And so, really to know which way to go with this, if you're unsure, ask. Allow me to give compassion and love to the little one inside of me. Let me attend to its deepest needs and feelings. That is honest and truly the deepest way that I learned how to nurture my pain, to learn how to nurture my trauma, to learn how to nurture that autopilot, unconscious mind running the show of my life, right? By, your inner child is such a powerful force in your life. If you are afraid of something, if you are hurt by something, that will run your life. And if you do not learn how to nurture that part of you, it's going to be really hard for you to understand what I'm talking about. And it's really uncomfortable to learn how to nurture it because we weren't raised like that. We weren't raised to believe that we could be with ourselves and nurture ourselves from the hurt that we experienced. We were always raised that an outside influence had to come and kind of validate all of that for us, which is not the truth. And so, I was really kind of uncomfortable when I started all my inner child healing. And now, after a few years of it, couple years, you really do learn that when things do come up to your porch and I feel like they're evil, I learned that my inner child, from what she experienced, kind of put that label on that thing because it didn't feel good at all. And so then subconsciously that was kind of ruling over my life. The evil was kind of looming over me like a black cloud. And not until I got control over my inner child, my emotions. Your inner child is your womb space. Your inner child is your emotions. And so when I learned to have my emotions and use them in better ways, then I got better at it, right? But whenever my inner child was ruling the show, I was an emotional fucking head case. So ask, guys, if you want to know, about inner child work and you feel embarrassed to reach out and ask anybody, ask to be allowed to give compassion to the little one inside of you. Ask to attend to its deepest needs and its deepest feelings, because in that place is where you're really going to learn how to have more nurturing conversations about the pain and about the trauma that you've been through. Many of us have been dealing with evil in our family since childhood. And so, the evil, one of the big evils that I had been through in my life came from my childhood, came from my family. And I didn't even remember it. I was disassociated from it, but it was still running my life. It was still holding me in a place. It was recreating in my life. It was, every experience, it just kept coming in different pieces of this evil, and it would appear like it was this person or that person or that person. And really, it was just trying to show me the hurt that was in me, right? And so for a long time, I didn't feel safe. I felt like I needed to really keep myself protected, you know what I mean? And I wasn't even conscious about it. So these patterns kept replaying in my life, and I'm okay, I can definitely see a pattern here, but what the fuck even is that? And how do you even figure out words for it? And as I, when I got pregnant and started healing my womb, and then started learning more and more about that, and then as you just keep getting deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper, you keep just getting, I didn't know about all the pain within me at all. this whole journey for me has been really like, finding the pain, nurturing the pain, talking about this shit, finding the pain. Sometimes I talk about it too soon. There's no wrong way, right? But the cool thing about all of this is, like, with God, love, all of nature is working in our favor. And so as we're flipping through these energy centers, and as we're experiencing these physical symptoms, mental symptoms, spiritual symptoms, it's teaching us about ourselves. That's how God is. That's how love is. It's always trying to teach you about yourself. It's always trying to get you to be your best self, to notice the things in you that are not letting you flow, to notice the things in you that don't feel good, to go in there and discover why it doesn't feel good, why it's not flowing, right? That's shamanism, right? And so, I'm out here, the best deliberate creator alive, teaching people how to create things that they want in their lives. It's so fun, right? Fun ride. But I really do believe that dreams come true only when you get to know the evil in you, the darkness in you, the hurt in you, the trauma in you. When you start to see that different, when you start to be able to feel different about it, when you start to be able to speak about it different, right? That's when it's really alchemizing. That's when it's really, the energy is really shifting and changing. And so, shamanism, I believe we're all shamans. I believe, I call it blessed as fuck. Whatever you want to call it. Whatever you want to call it. It's you and you on your planet. And, shamanism is how you work on yourself, how you work on this evil and pain and trauma and alchemize these things in your life and use, right? You don't just have to, some of it you throw out, but you can use the other stuff and refurbish it and use it in your foundation. You are the only issue. Yes, it's just you and you on your planet. And it's really hard to look at the issues that come to your porch and come into your life and say, thanks, man. I wasn't even noticing that about myself. And like, that's something I'm trying to train myself. Like, every time something comes on my porch, every time some evil is popping up in my life or some bad vibes or whatever, like, I do like a whole crazy be like, thank you. Yeah, work on you. Be dedicated to yourself. Be dedicated to your feelings. Be dedicated to nurturing those feelings inside. So many people that I talk to are like, well, this feels really shitty, but I got to deal with it because of this or because of that. What if you didn't? What if you got to choose you? What if you got to choose a better feeling for you? And then everybody else had to kind of roll with that. Right? A lot of people that are in this place of seeing the evil have a really hard time when they see people in their power, because they misconstrue that. They misconstrue somebody being in their power as them trying to be evil or malicious. And that's because that's something within you, right? So then that brings up all the jealousy, all the envy, all the blah, blah, blah about all that stuff, right? That comes in whenever you have those things inside of you. Right? Because you're looking at it different. You didn't nurture that in you. So you're not looking at that in a nurturing way. You're looking at it as, I need to protect myself from this sucker. So we can clear out the old heavy energies. We can. That's the work I do. The body work I do, I clear out the nervous system so you can restructure and rebuild, right? But you can also do this to yourself, and that's what shamanism is when you do this to yourself. It just takes more time. It's just, you really have to pay attention. You really have to receive when you're asking questions. I love your fucking guts too. Sometimes, and this is what I've learned in the crises of my life, in the turbulence of my life, in the bad things in my life, in the evil things in my life, right? Crisis is emptying you of fear and attachments to things completely. and it's like out of your control. There's nothing you can do. It's a crisis. What can you do? When my house burnt down, what can I do? When I got a DUI, what can I do? When you're losing a baby, what can you do? When everything's all churned up, what can you do, right? Nothing. And that's okay too. Let all that just empty out of you. Cry it out, sleep it out, do whatever you want to do. Because a lot of us are very attached to the things that are unhealthy for us. A lot of us are very attached to the evil. A lot of us are very attached to the trauma and the hurt and the pain. And so that is the getting pain off of seeing somebody hurt that's what that is. That, when you're connected to the attachment, when you're attached to the energy, that's just what you're used to. So you're just like, fuck it, I'd rather just have the old comfortable uncomfortable than create some new shit, because that's too much work. It is a lot of work to create your life. It is a lot of work to stay in your fucking lane. It is a lot of work to block out all the bullshit. It is a lot of work to be at the park and be talking to these parents and cut the fucking conversation off because they're talking some crazy reckless shit out their mouth. It is a lot of work to put up a fucking thing of protection over you and your kid real quick whenever some crazy shit flies out of somebody's mouth. It is a lot of work to go in and get in touch with yourself and the things that hurt you. It's a lot of work to acknowledge the things that hurt you, to see them patterning in your life and recreating in your life. It is a lot of work to realize that through this whole entire process, you're over here thinking that you're evil to somebody, and then it comes back and you might think that you are rotten. Like through this process of learning myself, I had to learn that I hurt a lot of people with the hurt in me. The hurt in me, the trauma in me, the evil in me, the pain in me hurt a lot of fucking people. That's a lot of work. When you're sitting there and you're sifting through that Rolodex of how many people you hurt with your own pain and your own trauma, that is a lot of fucking work. That's shamanism. That's blessed as fuck. That you can go inside yourself with God in there where nobody else can get to, and you can work these things out. You can nurture these hurts inside of you. You can spend time with them. You can choose you. You can cut off the bullshit for a minute. You can walk away from anything that doesn't feel good. You have the authority in your life to do all of these things. You have the authority to heal the hurt. You have the vision to see the hurt. You have the power to do all of these things. A lot of times when the crisis comes, it's preparing you to receive a bigger plan. It's preparing you to receive what is in your heart, because a lot of times in this old patterning, we're settling for less. And so when these crises come in, a lot of times it's like cleaning out the closet. Me and my brother had a conversation about attracting our dream partners and how we both learned that, we need to clean out our closets and kind of like open it up. Like we're ready to receive that person in. Yes, choose you. And like, that's the thing. What I mean about as we heal ourselves, we heal our family. Like I never imagined in my life that me and my little brother would have a conversation like that. And like, that's the blessed as fuck part of doing this work on yourself and having these conversations with your brother, having these conversations with your girl, having these conversations with a fucking stranger lets you know that you are blessed as fuck out here. You have this all in you. I love me some cleaning. Me too, girl. When I can't get that energy to move, man, I will go crazy with it sometimes. And I would just throw everything away. I love you. Pray for the man that I'm creating in my life, because he's going to have to deal with that. It's a really big thing. I'm like, oh shit, if something feels stuck or if something don't feel right, we're cleaning some shit out. So guys, we're learning to accept the good and evil within us. We're learning to harness the power within us, within those two things, right? To use for the greatest good. Patience is freedom. Truth is freedom. God helps me, guys. God helps me to take things like this, the evil in the world, and see that really it is all only love is real. You know, we do have all the tools inside of us. Learn about how your body is relating to its own self. You know, if the relationships outside of you are not working out, you got to check that relationship inside of yourself. And by that, it goes deep, you know. I mean, the root and the crown, the sacral and the third eye, the solar plexus and the throat, the heart's desires, the pain, the nurturing of that, the, you know, the communication, the letting anybody in, trusting anybody. Guys, this shit goes fucking hella super deep. The turbulence is real out here. When you're in the turbulence, take a minute. Take a deep breath. Ask God to come by you and show you what the fuck it means. You can even say, can you come show me what the fuck this means, God, please? I love you guys. I really do. And I know it's really heavy out here. And I know there's a lot going on out here. And I know that there's a divine plan with it all. You know, I know a lot of people are up against this whole evil feeling, and I know it doesn't feel good. I know a lot of people feel like they're under attack. I know a lot of people, you know, feel like that, but I'm telling you, man, like, you know, when you put that protection up and you know that God will handle, you know, I always say, God, you know, handle my enemies, because I don't really know, and I don't have time to really like sift through people and do background checks and shit on people in my life. And so can you please just sift that out for me while I go have fun over here? And it's crazy, like, shit happens, shit pops off, and I'm like, okay, I trust that. That definitely happened for a reason. Peace and love. You know, but that's all a learning process within you. You know, getting out of old toxic relationships. Just because the relationships is toxic doesn't mean one person is the evil guy and one person is the good guy, right? The toxic relationship is the two of you coming together to show each other the fucking bullshit and the doo-doo inside of you, right? And so it's really hard to like give thanks to this person that you want to just say is evil so you can just feel bad for what happened, right? Instead of just taking responsibility for that, as shitty as it is. You know, I've taken some responsibility for some shitty ass shit. But then once you take responsibility for it, you're like, whatever. There are no mistakes. Thank you for being you. Thank you for being you. I love you. I really do. And I really do know that these are really turbulent times. And I do really know that there is a great divide. I mean, everywhere you look, they're trying to divide love. They're trying, you know, if you divide love, then it's easier. You know, but if you keep love together and you work on your judgments and you work on your, you know, what you think is evil and the darkness of you, you know, as the darkness is being exposed and we learn to work on that darkness and nurture that darkness and realize that it's in us, when you see it's in you, you can't really judge somebody else because it's fucking in you too. I can't judge anybody else. I can't judge anybody. I don't judge anybody. I do not judge anybody. And all the places where when I find judgment inside of myself, I nurture that. I try to see where that comes from. What old evil patterning, trauma, you know, judgment comes from trauma. Blocking out your blessings comes from trauma. Fears come from trauma. Either we experience them or we carry them in ourselves. And we're living out and we're playing out that life. Do you want to live your best life or do you want to just keep living in the old vibration? It's hard. I know it's hard to stay in your lane. I know it's hard to be in your own vibration. I know it's hard to clear out the doo-doo. I know it's hard. That's why I say eat raw. You know, clean out the same way you clean out your house, clean out the inside of your body. It helps the physical process. You know, we're actually getting these icky things out like from the inside, right? And we're pushing them all the way out of the skin. And so the lighter that you can eat and the more that you can sweat and the more that you can kind of move your body to get these things out. Even for my people that can't barely move, even if you just roll your neck, you know what I mean? If you just rub your head right here, like, you know, some kind of thing to help you to nurture, to get these things out. That's what we're learning to do. We're learning to nurture ourselves in the release of these old energies. And it feels real bad sometimes. And so however you can love yourself, do that. However you can, you know, bring more love and fill up your cup, do that, please. That's what we need. That's what these turbulent times need, you to love yourself. Need you to learn to nurture the turbulence within inside of you, right? Because the turbulence outside of you is the turbulence in the vibration inside you. That's that nervous feeling. That's that anxious feeling. That's that unsure feeling, right? I have no fucking idea what's about to go on, but I'm super thankful. And that's because I've nurtured the fears in me. And then when they come up, I'm like, whoa, I got to take some time and nurture this for a second. I'll be right back. BRB. BRB, guys. BRB. I'm here for you. I'm here for you. I'm here for you. I really am. I understand. I understand what it's like to release. I understand what it's like to face the evil inside of you. I understand what it's like to face the darkness inside of you. I understand what it's like, how weird it is to go in and see your inner child, to feel them, to feel what they've been through, to nurture the evil things that we've been through. I've been through some evil things. Yep. And the dedication to self comes from, I'm not going to let that run my life. I'm not going to let that keep recreating. The curse breaker. That's what makes you the curse breaker. The curse of what? The curse of the trauma. The curse of the pain. The curse that the trauma and the pain inflicted on your family to create these evil things. And you can only start with you. You know, I know, guys, I was a fucking super giver, super over giver. You know, I'd run around and I'd be helping everybody and I'd leave me for last. And I don't do that anymore. And in my process of not doing that anymore, a lot of people did not take that lightly. And so I understand when you're an over giver and you're starting to pull back a little bit and you're starting to get that fight about it and all of these things, you have the power. You have the authority. Breathe. Ask God to come into you. Sit right where you are. Cut out the fucking noise. Get all the shit out of the way. Stay in your lane and pay attention to yourself. The things that are inside of you are amazing. I love you because we're all connected. I'm always here to talk about it. I look at evil different. I look at the good and the bad different. I have to. When I go in and I talk to God about it, it comes out different. You know, trust me, I know, like, you know, evil used to make me I used to think I was like a demon slayer and I'm kicking these demons in the neck. But the whole thing is instead of being so like fighty warrior about it, I'm really learning to love the evil, to see that evil is coming from pain. And that it's not an intentional thing. It's normally a subconscious autopilot survival technique. You know, the evil is just trying to survive instead of actually like creating, right? And so that's what we're doing, guys. We're releasing trauma. We're releasing old pain. We're learning to nurture it so we can learn to talk about it different. I don't really believe in the boogeyman. Do I know some fucked up shit happens out here? Yes. And do I know it comes from the deep pain that's inside of all of us? Yes. And do I know that each of us plays a special part of healing this hurt? Yes. And it's up to everybody out here to get it how they live. Yes. And I support that. And every single day, I pray for the highest and greatest good for all. Do I feel the effects of the divide? Yes. Do I try to really keep myself in a flow and in a neutral? Yes. How do I stay flowing with that? Whenever I feel it, when something comes into me and I feel it, and I nurture it, then I can understand that other person better, and then I can have more compassion, and then I can let them just be in their power, try to work it, try to learn how to work it without getting involved and stepping on anyone's toes. You know, if God tells me to step in and say on anything or speak up, I do. If not, I don't. You know, learning to rest and learning to chill has been one of the best things I've ever learned in this whole entire journey of releasing the old energies inside of me that no longer serve me. You know, I used to not be able to relax, and that's like a fucking evil demon in itself. Does anybody on here can't relax? That's an evil fucking demon. Ugh. I couldn't chill for 1 minute. If I like caught myself in like a relaxing mode, I would be like, oh my gosh, you should be working. You're so lazy. Get up and get it. That's a demon. It's an evil family pattern. It comes from hurt, trauma. You're stronger than you think you are. You know, breathe, ask. It's about to die. I love you because we're all connected. One love.